here we are, the final show before Slammiversary. A tag team extravaganza. Gotta say it because that's all they focused on, except for one match, which should have never happened. Never should have happened. And I know a lot of people will say, well, it had to happen because it was shitty. It makes no difference. You build it up for almost more than a month. It should have been done in Slammiversary, and I'll get to that in a minute. But still, it was all about tag teams. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is about the contract signing. Now, with WWE, you always see either the beginning of this show sometimes, very rarely in the middle of the show. Normally they do it at the end of the show. That's what I'm used to. Here, we got pretty much similar, but we only got the highlights of each of the matches that are going to be talked about. Look at what happened with Rosemary and Sienna. That is the weakest feud there. And I thought Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards feud is the weakest because there's no title involved. It angers me beyond no end, and I'll get to their mixed tag in a few minutes. Their six-way tag, I'll get to that in a few minutes. But it just angers me to see that they didn't do anything with Sienna, and they definitely didn't do anything with Rosemary. Now we go to Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. Look, I like the feud between Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. I feel they could have gone farther with it because the thing that was just missing, just one thing, and that was a title. Only thing that's needed was a title to make this make sense and to be a very good feud. But we've got an okay feud. Even though Alyssa was involved and Angelina Love was involved and there was a good beatdown between each of the combatants, the problem is this should be about Eddie Edwards. This should be about Davey Richards. This should be about the Impact Grand Championship. That's what it should be about. Not this. Now, yes, it's going to be interesting, a mixed tag in the Full Metal Mayhem arena. We're going to have a Full Metal Mayhem match with both of them and their wives. That will be something different. But I'd rather see these guys go after a title. Hell, I'd rather see Alyssa and Angelina Love go after a title. Not this. I just feel they dropped the ball on this so bad. Then you have Storm, and then you have EC3. Was the story they told good? Yes, it was. Was EC3, which he probably will be EC3 when he goes back to the United States, not EC Sing. If he does stick with it, that will be kind of surprising because I think he would drop the moniker once he goes back to the United States. If he sticks with it, it will be something that will be different for him. But was his promo effective? Hell yes, it was. Was Storm's promo effective? Yes, it was. Really emphasizing this is a strap match. We're going to beat the hell out of each other with a strap. Makes it important. More important than most of the matches that's going to be on Slammiversary. Then we have the title match. The unification match between the Lashley, the Destroyer, and the Saint, Alberto El Patron. The problem I feel with this feud, and there is a problem with the feud, is that they have sponsored it. Yes, they have. They tried to make the titles important, particularly the Impact Championship. They have. The problem I see is this. Since the rest of the matches on Slammiversary are questionable, they're not going to be that great. That means their feud and match is going to be the most strongest one that's going to have to make this work. Now, I'll be glad if I'm wrong, like Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards' match with their wives really tears the house down. And what's going on with Loki and Sanjay Dutt, and why were they not having a contract signing either? That one I don't get. You got everyone else, but Loki and Sanjay Dutt does not have a rematch contract signing. I feel that was kind of a lost thing. I think that would have been better to do than about Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards in their Full Metal Mayhem match. Because this is about the X Division instead of just a Full Metal Mayhem match with the women and the men. That's how I felt. But because like that like Sanjay Dutt and Loki are not really being sponsored that much, that the women's title match which is going to be a unification match, was not even built. Particularly what happened with their match later in the night. I just feel like if this is as it stands, it's a good story. And it'll probably be a good match. But it's not enough to carry Slammiversary, which upset me. And I'm just being honest here. Now let's get to these matches. I just got to get them over with. The match that angered me the most. The freaking most. The 6-person tag of calm. Sienna, Laurel Van Ness, KM, the badly built guy, versus Braxton Sutter, versus Allie, versus Rosemary. Why wasn't Rosemary and Sienna emphasized? You guys tell me why, please. In the comments, tell me why. Why? You know why? It's simple. They didn't do anything with Rosemary before they left the United States. They barely did anything with Sienna unless it was with Laurel Van Ness, Congo Kong, KM, and Allie with Braxton Sutter. That's it when it came to her. So when it came down to it, they couldn't even put these two women in some type of situation where they can just beat up on each other. So they had to do a 6-person tag. I don't even remember who won. Who the hell won that match? Who won it? Rosemary won. I had to look at my notes because I couldn't remember because I was so freaking angry. I was angry. And it should never happen. Period. They should have just let them, for months, build up into this. Make the knockouts important. They didn't do that mess. I want to smack the hell out of Bruce Pritchard, out of Jeff Jarrett, out of Karen Jarrett, and anyone else who signed off on this. I don't care if Dutch Montel signed. I want to smack them in the face and say, why did you even bring the GFW women's title into this situation when you were not even going to do anything with Rosemary? I don't care if she had a problem where she was either sick or she was injured. Do something on the freaking Titantron to show her. Show her. This is a joke. Now, let's move on to DeAngelo Williams. Now, they emphasized DeAngelo Williams, which I found was very nice. He spoke pretty well. The question for me is this. Is he going to be a one-timer, or is he actually going to do something? I don't know. My guess is this is a one-time thing. Unless he really is going to go and become a wrestler, which I don't think he will. But if it is more than once, at least he did speak well enough that I could believe that he truly cares about wrestling since the time he was a kid. To a certain extent, yes. Now, also, two things. For the title match, well, the unification match for the heavyweight title, Alberto El Patron and Lashley are going to have two people in the ring. By their side. No, not in the ring. They're going to have someone by their side when the match happens. You got King Mo. King Mo for why? Why would you bring back King Mo for Lashley from Bellator? You could have picked someone better than that. King Mo. We haven't seen him for a long time. He was supposed to be on a freaking roster. He never was on a roster. He was on their freaking website. And then when they changed the website to a YouTube thing, he disappeared. Now they're bringing him back. That's stupid. I'm sorry. King Mo is not one of the best MMA fighters out there. You could have found someone better. Hell, you could have asked Brock Lesnar to do a show. He's not going to be doing anything until Great Balls of Fire. It's going to come this week. You could have called him in and said, Brock, do me a favor. Can you do us a solid? Just be there. Unless the WWE would not allow him to do it when he's not being seen. Which actually he's being seen right now, so I can understand why. But you could have picked someone else than King Mo. But El Patron decided to bring his dad. Which I've never actually seen his father wrestle. He's got a picture right there. I've never seen him wrestle. I had heard about El Patron's dad wrestling. Which he was supposed to be a great Mexican wrestler. He's one of the greats. So this will be something interesting. I don't think his dad will be wearing the mask. Maybe he will. Who knows? But it would be nice to see him at his side. And you know who would be best to be there? Who really... This is the thing I really wish they could do. Now, I know Paige is still under contract. And maybe she's still in the back or maybe she's still out. I would love to see Paige by her man's side. That would be beautiful. If she could be seen on television, I wish it was possible. If she's under contract, she can't be seen by Impact, fine. I understand why. Because the WWE are dicks. They do that. She's not being seen on television. They basically trapped her in the back, or they're not letting her be on TV and just say stay home. And she's doing absolutely nothing, but she's still under contract. She can't do anything. I understand. There you go. Bob's your uncle. But it would be great to see Paige there. Now, the match that I can't believe they did on normal TV. A Mumbai street fight. I'm thinking Mujabi. A Mumbai street fight with Rockstar Spud and Swaggle. I know there's people that are my subscribers that think that me talking about these two idiots, because that's what they kind of feel like. And they're supposed to be idiots because they're midget wrestlers. Rockstar Spud is a midget wrestler technically. He is smaller than almost everyone on the roster. And then you got Swaggle, who legitimately is a midget wrestler. The thing that I know many people are going to say, dude, let it go. I can't. You spent more than a few months building these two up. It makes no difference if their match was shit. And I'm saying this truthfully and with total sincerity. You spend TV time building these guys up. You put promos out for these guys, saying one guy pulls the pants down, another one, he gets beaten down by the guy who he got his pants pulled down. Then they switch it back. Then they do vignettes for both of these guys wanting revenge on each other. And then you're finally nearing your signature pay-per-view, and you decide before the pay-per-view to throw a match that these guys are going to have on free TV instead of putting it on the main pay-per-view show. It's not the point if the match was garbage. And I know a lot of people say, yes, it is. No, it's not. You spent more than 3 months, almost 3 months of our time. And I'm saying this to any wrestling fan. You should be angry. It's not the point that the match was garbage. It's the point that they just spent 3 months of our time showing us something that they're willing to give on free television that's a joke. It's not the point if it's a joke on the pay-per-view. You know it was going to be a joke, but it was still midget wrestling. It could have been fun. It could have been something you could get into. No. You decide to throw it on regular television 1 week before the show. That is asinine. It's not the point if the match was bad. It's the point that you spent 3 months building into this match. It should be a payout in a pay-per-view that could bring in money. And if you believe I'm wrong, please tell me why. And I'm sure there's going to be someone who's going to say, dude, let it go. It's dumb. They knew it wasn't going to work out. That's why they put it on regular TV. Think of it in this respect, my friend. Male or female. It makes no difference if they knew the match was wrong. They should have never actually gone there in the first place and wasted our time. And they could have promoted other different storylines. That's the truth. You could have done more with what was going on with Loki and Sanjay Dutt. You could have done more with what was like Eli Drake and Christopher. I'd rather see Eli Drake have the title from Moose, but we got what we got. You could have done more with Eli Drake. You could have done something more with Christopher and Adonis. What do you got? Mujai Cats, the jobbers, getting their butts kicked by them. That's it. We barely seen that much of those two. You could have spent those few minutes of every week and that time that was done at the ring for them. You could have done something for Rosemary. It's just the way it is. Now, what else do we have here? Well, I already spoke about Eli Drake and Christopher Adonis. The match was done. They won, and they're going into what's going to happen with DeAngelo Williams and Moose. It looked okay. They had some segments. It's all right. Joseph Park and JB, the moments throughout the show were okay. Now Joseph Park is being asked, be the Abyss by JB. You got a shot at Janice, which they always go to Janice. I'd rather just see the Mask than Janice. But they went to Janice and trying to make the Abyss come back. Alright, fine. Whatever. I know a lot of people do not like this feud between Josh Matthews and JB. I'm seeing it from the respect, yes, it is just like Michael Cole and the Jerry the King Lawler. I know that. Of course it is. But instead of it being those two, you got these two you don't normally see. And then you got Big Poppa Pump. Come on. You don't want to see Big Poppa Pump. You don't want to see him. You don't have to worry that much Abyss. We're always going to have the Abyss. But Big Poppa Pump being seen, he's still charismatic. He's still a great talker. I wish they had done that instead of Rockstar Spud and Swoggle. Let Big Poppa Pump talk. Anyway, what am I forgetting here? Anything else? The X Division tag match. I'll say this. When it came to Sanjay Dutt and it came to Mike Sydal, it wasn't bad seeing those guys. When it came to Loki and Trevor Lee, it wasn't bad seeing those guys. The one thing I was worried the most about was the contact between Sanjay Dutt and Loki. And the beginning to the middle of the match, they really had very little contact. At the end of the match, yeah, they had a lot of contact, unfortunately. I'd rather seen Mike Sydal actually wrestle. I would have rather see Loki go up against Mike Sydal. You could have had that match. You could have had 2 singles matches on this card. And I would rather have seen that. But you got this. And in the end, who was the one that won? I think it was Mike Sydal won, I believe. I can't even remember. Yeah, Mike Sydal won over Trevor Lee. Which you could have had that match by itself. But you decided to do a tag match because you wanted to show everybody for the Mumbai crowd. Which, the crowd was really good. I did enjoy the Mumbai crowd. It's really good to see when a crowd really is enthusiastic. Yes, it's a small crowd, but as long as it's enthusiastic, it makes the show better. Was the show great? No. It wasn't incredible, but it was better. Now, the 8-man tag, which I don't know why they did this. I really felt that it wasn't necessary. But they guess they wanted to fill in some time. And Shira did get his butt kicked first because he came out. He got taken to the back while the match was going on. The match wasn't that bad. Most of the time, the people that were supposed to match each other in the Slammiversary went up against each other. Then you got Shira coming back, who helped. And in the end, El Patreon pinned, who was it? Congo Kong. I was kind of surprised about that, but not totally. Well, I can't say I wasn't totally surprised. I was kind of surprised that it wasn't maybe Davey Richards that would have gotten the pin. But it would make sense because Congo Kong is the new guy. They had to go there. But it was kind of strange seeing Congo Kong get his chest stomped in and then got pinned. It was just kind of strange to see someone who's supposed to be really dominant actually get jobbed out. But that's the way it went. Was this a good show? It was okay. It was solid enough that you could say, well, it was okay to watch, but you don't need to see it again twice. Was it good for Bill going into Slammiversary? No, not that great. Really, what happened to the X Division contract signing? I mean, yes, it's a rematch, but you could have done it. But anyway, this is the way it is. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't something you need to see twice. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane view. Please give me a comment below. This is one of the times I finally managed to get a live stream to see Impact Wrestling. I don't know if I can do this all the time because the site I go to doesn't always have it. That's the reason why I've never done it. So hopefully they'll keep doing it and I will be able to keep seeing it. Have a good day.